They thought it was sweet and started celebrating. They ain't even peep how I was orchestrating.
Good evening, everyone. I was surfing through YouTube, and I do that usually on a daily basis to see what's interesting and what persons are talking about with regards to godly things, matters of God and Christ. And what predominated the thumbnails was a video by a guy by the name of Michael Todd, Pastor Michael Todd. I don't know this individual. I never heard of him before until I watched some of those videos. And a lot of those videos were reaction videos to a production he put on, some Easter production. So I says, well, let me go check it out. So I watched the video, and was I surprised at what I saw? No. This is a part of Christianity's heritage. And I'm afraid that many still don't get it. If one looks at the history of Christianity as a whole, Christianity has a heinous history and a blood-stained history with regards to its treatment to the human family. I've mentioned this before in previous videos. We look at the Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, the transatlantic slave trade, the Salem witch hunts, Christianity's involvement in all of the major wars and even minor wars on the earth. It's just been terrible with regards to its history, and it's still ongoing. Now, when I saw this video production, this so-called Easter video production, my mind goes into a different gear than what many other people's minds go into. The first thing I thought about was, well, okay, this individual is only doing what he sees. Others, those old heads in the past have been doing and still are doing. We have these mega churches. We have those churches that are not so much mega, but they put on these productions, and even within church services, they're carrying on within those church doors, right? People skipping around, so-called getting into the spirit, hooping and hollering and carrying on like demon-possessed persons. But what was interesting was the adjectives I saw on a lot of these YouTube thumbnails, such as disrespectful, demonic, is this for real? And I'm thinking, well, okay, that might be, but why isn't what you guys are doing or have been doing any different? Now, I just mentioned that this guy, Michael Todd, in my view, is simply doing what he sees many others are doing. They're just doing it a different way. The mega churches and so forth, and those who are not mega churches now, like I just mentioned. They've packaged and they've marketed Christ. Michael Todd simply found a niche that he can exploit, and he's going to make a lot of money doing it. Christianity is a cash cow. Now, we have these expressions called gospel music, and people made up that expression. You see, gospel music is spiritual music. Well, why is that not demonic as well? Because I've seen lots of air quote gospel performers, and I've listened to a lot of that gospel music. I don't feel any certain way about it. I know many people do, but I just don't, because I know full well that this notion of gospel music is man-made. Man created this expression called gospel music, and anything that is not gospel music is demonic music. See how that works? A lot of us still aren't getting it. So what this guy Michael Todd, this production he put on, this so-called Easter production, I'm thinking, okay, am I down with that? No. But neither am I down with those who love to point fingers at others because it doesn't meet their definition of what spirituality is, as if they themselves are spiritual. See, it's like putting the cart before the horse. You create a situation, you create a thing called gospel music and or spiritual music, and if others do something in their churches that's different from what you are doing, what you have been doing, see, that's demonic. But what you're doing is not demonic. We need to stop and think, we need to pause and think about what we're saying. People are pointing this finger at others, but yet they don't see the three more pointing back at them. What makes what you're doing spiritual and what they're doing not spiritual? Suppose what you're doing is also demonic, but yet you will never claim that because you've already established a ground rule saying that if it is not gospel music, whatever that is, then it must be demonic music. Easter. Now, this was a so-called Easter production. How many of you who attend church or who went to church services during that pagan holiday? Yes, Easter is a pagan holiday. It stems from the ancient Chaldean, Assyrian, and Babylonian goddess of Ishtar. Ishtar, Easter, Ishtar, Easter. Ishtar was the goddess of sexual love, war, and fertility. Another goddess, Astarte, Easter, Astarte, Easter, was also the goddess of sexual love, war, and fertility. So that's pagan. Easter has pagan origins, yet many of you will attend church services claiming what other people over there are doing, that's all demonic, but yet you are involved in a pagan rite, Easter. You don't find Easter in the Bible. Jesus never spoke about Easter, and neither did his apostles. This is, again, something man-made. The cart going before the horse. You establish a thing as being holy and righteous, and so you can run with it. It's okay for you to run with it. But if someone else does it, see, then it's demonic. It's something else. And in my view, all of it is demonic. Now, don't get me started on Christmas. How many of you engage in that pagan holiday? Christmas is a pagan holiday. There's nothing Christ about Christmas. It's man-made. It's a pagan rite. Do your own research on this. But yet it's very difficult to reason with many of you because in your mind, hey, there's nothing wrong with Christmas. Well, don't you get it? This individual, Michael Todd, doesn't see anything wrong with what he's doing, just like you. Think. We've been given a warning at Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, to get out of her, my people. Now, I believe that has a future fulfillment, but we can also apply that to our time today. You see, I do not believe that Christianity came from above. Jesus said that his kingdom is no part of this world. Christianity has its origins in this world, in a world that Jesus said that his kingdom is no part of. So what does that make Christianity? It makes it an imposter, a fake, a counterfeit. Jesus spoke of something coming on the basis of his name, teaching, claiming that he is the Messiah, the Christ, but will deceive many. This is written at Matthew chapter 24, verses 4 and 5. And if you couple that with looking at Christianity's heinous history with regards to the human family in the past and even today, Christianity is not as chaste as it would like people to believe that it is, especially in this country. Anything goes in America. And if you peel back the skin on that onion, what lies beneath is money. People are making money packaging and marketing Christ. So we must be extremely careful. In my view, I would get out of it and not look back. If you get out of it, go to Christ. Go to God through his son Christ. Don't jump out of one frying pan into another one. Don't leave one air quote Christian organization or church group and join another one. Get out of all of it. All of it. There's nothing chaste, there's nothing godly about Christianity. Each one, even this guy Michael Todd, believes that what he is doing is godly and it's air quote Christian. And again, Jesus never told anyone to be called by that expression Christian, did he? True or false? He did tell us to be known as his disciples. Nothing more and nothing less. Christianity is a cash cow. I know a lot of persons who I know for a fact are not godly persons, but they have established churches in their neighborhoods, and they put on airs. They fake it. And people buy into that because people, for the most part, hate to say this, are gullible. If someone says something that they want to hear, that tickles the ears, see, they're okay with it. They'll amen that. As long as they're being entertained, they're okay with it. But they're not learning anything. And they will certainly not see the big picture that I'm trying to paint to many of you right now. What this so-called Pastor Michael Todd did as far as the Easter service, I'm not surprised at this. Christianity has been doing that for a very long time, and especially within these mega churches. That's what they do. So you can't point a finger at what they're doing without first looking at what you're doing and what you're in. Are you amening all of that? So that's my take on it. I'm not surprised at it. It's going to continue. Many young people don't get it because they have not been taught. They're simply seeing what they've seen the older persons, those old heads, do. And they're still doing it. It's okay for those old heads to get out there and get on the pulpit and yell and shout and skip around and playing musical instruments, getting people worked up emotionally, drugging them emotionally, bewitching them. It's okay for them to do it, those old heads, but it's not okay for these younger heads to do what they're doing. See, they're doing it just a different way. But all of it, in my view, is not godly. And it doesn't come from, any of it comes from Christ or from above. It comes from the roots of this earth, a world that Jesus said that his kingdom is no part of. And I'll show you a few clips here. It's about a 1-minute clip, and I'll leave it at that. This is R. Jerome Harris. Thank you for listening.
They thought it was sweet and started celebrating. They ain't even peep how I was orchestrating. Raise a toast to the king, this is special.
Everybody back. I think I'm getting too much money. Everybody back.
Let's make the most of the night like we're gonna die.
This is what you need to do. Step 1, find you a baddie.
Okay.
But step 2,
She gotta have a fatty.
hey, take a little something. Hey,
Yeah.
look back at it.
Uh-oh. What is she doing?
Friends, I don't have a fatty. Girl, we keep telling you it's okay.
Your little booty matter too, friend.
Y'all know they don't be discriminating.
Stop the track. Let me stay back.